welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be bringing you today's video, which is a roundup of my favorite and unfavorite concealers. This video is in collaboration with the lovely Kait, or as she is known on YouTube, State of Kait. She is such a lovely, wonderful person, just beautiful inside and out. And so I'm super excited to be collaborating with her on this video today. She is also going to be doing a roundup of her favorite and least favorite concealers. And so I definitely recommend that you check her video out. I will be linking it down below. But if you don't know who Kait is, she is a YouTuber who focuses on a lot of indie brands, and she has the most gorgeous complexion. She really does her makeup in such a lovely, classic, but unique way at the same time. I just love her videos, really respect her as a YouTuber and a person, so I definitely recommend that you check her out. Without further ado, let's get into the video. I am so excited. I have a lot of concealers, you guys. So foundations and concealers are my favorite makeup products. I just hoard and hoard and hoard. It was hard to narrow them down. I actually have more in my collection than is listed today and that we're going to be talking about, but I wanted to really tell you which ones are worth the money and which ones I kind of wish I had passed on, so that hopefully you don't make the same mistakes that I did. I'm going to walk you through it, and I'm going to do a ton of zoom-ins as always to show you how they're wearing on the skin. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I mean, of course, the pink notebook is out. I have a lot of notes on all of these concealers, and without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, you are all zoomed into the face as usual, and the first concealers I wanted to chat to you about today are the Glossier Stretch Concealers. These guys come in 12 different shades and they are $18 a pop. These are some of my holy grail concealers for a pretty big reason, and that reason being that they glide over texture in a very excellent way. If you have dry patches on the skin, or you have incredibly crepey under eye skin, and you're looking for something emollient that just glides seamlessly, I highly recommend these concealers. Now I'm going to tell you who they're not for. These concealers are not for people who have quite oily or combination skin, as they would just slide right off, them being such a oily kind of emollient texture. They're really not going to fit someone who has oilier skin and is looking for something to cover up blemishes. No. These concealers are built for dry under eyes, I'm telling you. And if you also have normal to dry skin and you just want something very subtle to kind of dust over the skin, so you can actually use these with a fluffy brush and kind of just give yourself a lovely dewy base. And I just love how soft and reflective these concealers are. They're not going to give you a full coverage. That's not what they're for, but they are for just illuminating and bouncing back light. They have avocado oil in here, cocoa butter. They just really glide over the skin. They are also fragrance free, which is really important to me, and I'm really glad that Glossier included that. So I'm really happy with the price point as well. I find them to be incredibly affordable. Obviously, if you're looking for a medium to full coverage, this is not going to be for you. But if you're looking to kind of reflect any darkness and pigmentation on the skin, or you have acne that has a little bit of dryness around the outer area as it's healing, this would be the perfect concealer to put over it. And so that's why I find this concealer texture to be very special, and it's one of my favorite concealers of all time. Next up, we have a very tried and true tested favorite of mine. This is the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer. It comes in 12 shades and it is $30. Now this concealer is vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free, and I'm going to tell you the reason I like it. First of all, I really like the ingredients. Everything that Ilia makes that is a complexion product usually has some kind of skin benefiting ingredients. This has an aloe base, and it also contains stabilized vitamin C, which means that it actually helps brighten the skin over time and fade pigmentation. And I love something that's multitasking like that. I love this concealer. If the Glossier is not really your vibe, you don't want a pot concealer, I find this to be very similar in the sense that it is super emollient. It's not as dewy, which can be a good thing depending on what you're looking for, but I always used to recommend this in Sephora to the clients who had a lot of fine lines under their eyes. Maybe they didn't really like concealer, they didn't like the stickiness of concealer. I would say that this is not a sticky concealer. It's a very smooth and lightweight concealer, and it actually does not crease on me. So with this one, I don't have to set it at all, whereas for the Glossier one, I do. This gives a light to pretty good medium coverage. It is definitely buildable, just never done me wrong. Even if I've been going through like a weird skin time, it's never irritated me, and so it is truly one of my holy grails for a reason. Next, we have the Kosas Revealer Concealer. This comes in actually 16 shades, so it does include deeper skin tones than the Ilia, and it is $28. It's a bit more medium and fuller of a coverage than you're going to get with the Ilia. It is more creamy in texture rather than silky and liquidy, and I really like that it contains peptides, arnica, which really helps fade dark spots over time, and it also has caffeine, which if you didn't know, caffeine is really great to depuff the under eyes. The only con for me is that the shades do tend to lean more yellow, especially in the lighter and medium shades of the range. So some of you guys will not be able to find a shade that is neutral enough, and I don't know why they did it like that. This would be like such a perfect concealer if they had more neutral shades. I really like this because I can truly apply it and then forget it. It just blends out so easily, and it does not crease, it does not transfer, and it's actually slightly more long lasting than the Ilia because it's slightly less emollient. It's just truly easy to use. I just wish that they would fix the shade range a little bit, and then it would be totally perfect in my book. Alrighty, next up we have the Benefit Boing Concealer. This is $22 and it comes in 14 shades. This is a full coverage concealer. I have it in the shade number 3, and it's called the Cakeless Concealer. So while this is a quite full coverage concealer, again, I don't find it to be heavy, I don't find it to be sticky, and I don't find it to be cakey. Now personally, I don't ever set this concealer because I have dryness on my face, but I feel like oily skin would really like this because once it sets, it really does set in place. So it's a very different kind of concealer. It's not gonna look super natural, but I also feel like it doesn't look cakey on the skin, which is really important because even though sometimes I go for a more full coverage finish, I like things to look really seamless and put together and natural. So while with this concealer, it's in more of a brightening shade for me, so you can tell that I'm wearing something, it doesn't sit cakey on the skin, and it just kind of lifts and illuminates the entire under eye area. If you're looking for a lightweight concealer that's gonna give you that full coverage, oh my gosh, look no further. I don't like their packaging. I never take it seriously. So I actually really had this in my collection for a while and I just never reached for it. And then once I started playing with it, I was like, whew, I'm sold. This is the Kat Von D, or KVD as it's now called, Lock-It Concealer. Now the pros of this concealer is that it is full coverage, cruelty-free, and vegan. It's $27 and it comes in 21 shades. But that is kind of where the list ends for me in terms of benefits. Now, let's talk about the smell. This product smells like paint, and I just feel like we're past that. Like, we don't need to get products that smell like paint. It kind of reminds me of the days that I would wear like MAC, and the smell of paint just wafts into my nostrils throughout the day, and I'm just kind of like, why? Like, why would I need to suffer through this and smell like paint throughout the day? I just don't like that. I find that this, it's trying its best, but unfortunately what ends up happening is I feel like it settles into lines and it makes me look old. But I just find that this over time throughout the day kind of settles in between fine lines and it makes my eyes look wrinkly. It doesn't matter whether I set it, it doesn't matter whether I don't set it, it doesn't matter whether I prep it with an under eye cream, it just always ends up doing that. And honestly, even if I did find some kind of system to make it work, I just don't think you should have to work that hard to make a product work for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not worth it. Yeah, it's just not my favorite. Yeah, sad, sad. Next up, we have the Kaja Don't Settle Concealer. Now, this is one of the most affordable concealers out of the bunch at $16. It is vegan, cruelty-free, and it comes in 12 shades. I ended up getting this in gratis when I was working at Sephora, and it really, really surprised me. This is one of the thinnest concealers, if not the thinnest out of the bunch. It feels like nothing on the skin, and it's just so incredibly lightweight. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell on camera just like how lightly I'm swiping it, and it just glides under the skin. If you, again, don't want to feel like you have concealer on, this is just such a lovely product. This gives a medium coverage. I would definitely not say it's a full concealer, like a full coverage product, but again, it just blends out so, so well, and I love it, especially being so affordable. I'm gonna say something controversial, but I feel like the Kaja Don't Settle is a dupe for the Giorgio Armani Luminous Concealer that I just picked up, and it's more expensive. So I feel like this concealer would work for all skin types, even though it's so silky and so easy to blend out. It's a natural demi-matte finish, and it looks like skin, and I don't have to set it personally, and I feel like it would last on somebody with oilier skin. So if you haven't checked this brand out before, I highly recommend it. All right, moving on to one of the more expensive concealers in my collection. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Concealer. This is $32 and it comes in 21 different shades. It has a very interesting applicator. Okay, right off the bat, something I hate about this concealer is it gets stuck. And you have to, I'm not kidding, you have to work so hard to open it. And I'm always so afraid that it's just gonna spill out and get on me, but I literally have to pull it open and pry it open, and I hate that. This entire design of this packaging, although it's luxurious, being that it's like rose gold and it has that finish, so you have a twist up and then you have the sponge. Now the sponge is very soft, but it's not the most hygienic thing. That aside, it gets really gross. It kind of leaks out the sides of the sponge, and then you're trying to save product and you're trying to stick it back. It's hard to know if the stuff on the sponge has dried down or you need to twist it up more, and you get very, very little. It goes so, so quickly, and that's like the main con for me is the packaging design and how quickly you run out of concealer. Now, this has Persian silk in it, which is supposed to really help it adhere to the skin and kind of blur and lift the skin. And it's not a bad concealer. It's a full coverage concealer, very much like the Boing. It's a full coverage concealer, but it is a stickier and softer formula. And I really like wearing this when I have a very important event or I want to look completely polished and smooth under the eyes. It's hard to find a concealer under the eyes that is full coverage and smooth, but I just don't know if I were to repurchase it because of the terrible design. And, I do think with there being so many concealers out there, even though this formula is really gorgeous, I don't know, I think she needs to sort it out. That being said, it's one of my favorite concealers to brighten the under eye. I just feel like if I look horrible and I have really, really dark circles, I just feel like, whew, this just completely awakens the under eyes. I just kind of wanted to throw it in there as I like it, but it has its problems, and I wanted to just be very honest in case you've been looking at this concealer and you wanted a very honest breakdown of what it can do and what it is not good at. Next, we have the Physicians Formula Natural Defense Concealer. I'm kind of split on this one. Originally, I was really attracted to it because it has SPF, broad spectrum SPF 30, and it also has blue light protection technology, and I thought, wow, like that is so great to have a concealer under the eyes that protects your under eyes from the blue light from your screen. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna tell you. So it's 4 shades that this comes in. I believe it's like $11.99 or something like that. I'm gonna put the price below, but right now it's on sale for $8.99. And my feeling on this is mixed because it's a light coverage concealer and it's very light. And by light, I mean incredibly sheer. It's just gonna give you a little bit of brightening, and it's not buildable. It's not buildable at all. I like the sponge applicator on this. I just think it's a lot better than the Charlotte Tilbury. You can actually twist it to completely lock it so that it doesn't leak. So I do like that. I think this is the kind of concealer that I would wear at the beach, for example, if I wanted to really brighten the under eye a little bit and not have it be super visible. The only thing is that depending on how much you apply, this can flake, and I'm just like, unacceptable. So, you know, this would be the kind of thing that you could wear at the beach very, very casually, but it depends on how your skin is doing, because I have noticed that sometimes it looks fine, but other times, depending on how much I apply, this actually flakes. Like the little dots of SPF can flake around, and you'll have these little like white flakes around your eyes, and that is just not a chic look. The best way that this concealer has fit into my collection has been when I have mixed it with something else. So very similar to the Huda, you guys may have seen old videos of myself really praising this concealer, and it's because I didn't really realize how the formula wore by itself, because I hadn't played with it on its own enough. I would mix it in with another concealer. So I would use something like the Ilia all over, and then I literally just dot this concealer in the inner corner of the eyes because it has this very brightening effect, because it's a pretty light shade. And I really liked it like that. I had absolutely no problems with it. But on its own, it's a little bit mercurial. Like you really, it depends on the day on how it's gonna wear, and I don't like things that are inconsistent. So for that reason, I wouldn't really recommend this. Moving on to a concealer that I don't love as much. This is the Huda Beauty, the Overachiever Concealer. This comes in 21 shades, and it is a full coverage matte concealer. I believe, yes, it's $30. And I like that it comes with a cooling tip applicator. I will give Huda that. That's a really nice way to kind of not contaminate everything. I do like the idea of a cooling applicator onto the skin. But beyond that, like whenever I think of this concealer, I think of fragrance. It smells so strong. It is a very thick concealer. It takes some time to blend out, and it doesn't always look great on the skin, I'm gonna be honest. Like it can cake pretty horribly. I don't know how anybody could get away with doing a triangle shape with this concealer, because it's just incredibly full coverage. I will say that if you're looking for a super full coverage, like absolutely foolproof, like the fullest coverage you could think of, Huda's products are kind of unparalleled. She just makes things incredibly full coverage. I have used this concealer in a way that works for me. It being in my collection, I was like trying to think, okay, well, how can I use this in a way that might benefit me? And I have used like a toothpick amount on the inner corner of my eyes before when I'm going out and I want to have that brightness and I want to have that fullness, and it's worked a lot better. But in my opinion, oh my god, I'm like laughing at myself in the viewfinder here. Yeah, I don't know, this is just so sticky. It smells like a piece of cake, and an artificial one at that, which I hate. And it can stick too. It like sticks to texture sometimes. You have to blend it out really quickly, and it'll just kind of like hover over patches of skin that might be drier than others and just cling for dear life. So I really don't like that. It also does the stinging thing on me. Let me know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's like when you're using a product and it doesn't disagree with your skin, but it doesn't really agree. And so it kind of like almost stings a little bit sometimes. This concealer really does that to me, and I genuinely think it's probably some kind of ingredient that's in here. I just think it's like a fragrance thing or a sensitivity thing. So that's why it's not one of my favorite concealers. And yeah, I just think there are a lot of better concealers out there. If it's working for you, awesome. But yeah, it just did not work out for me. All right, so next we have the Tarte Creaseless Maracuja Concealer. This comes in 30 shades and it is $26. Now, the main reason I hate this concealer is it's so sticky. And my whole point in this was to show you concealers that are lightweight, they're fluid, maybe they're a bit more creamy, but they're not sticky. I just have an issue with sticky textures. I think that's actually how my dislike of concealers started, was when I was younger and they didn't have very good formulas. Concealer was something that was kind of sticky and tacky and kind of notorious for not being as easy to blend. and I find that the Tarte fits that category. Now, it does a lot better when I apply it with my finger than when I use a beauty blender because, again, it being sticky, when I use a beauty blender with it, it just kind of, it gets really gross. Like it gets very patchy and it doesn't blend very well. So the warmth of the finger definitely helps. That being said, oh my God, I wish you were here to feel my face. That sounds really weird. If you haven't tried this in store in person, you're not gonna know what I'm talking about, but it truly feels so sticky and it's just an uncomfortable experience to blend out. Like, I can't even do this. I can't even swipe. That's how sticky it is as a product. Look, I'm still here trying to blend this out. Like, it's just, and it still creases on me, so I don't really know what they mean by creaseless. I feel like after all that work, it ends up still being patchy, so what is the point? You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the most pleasant experience, so I do not recommend this concealer. All right, you guys, that rounds up all of my thoughts on my concealers. I know it was a long one, but I hope that it was helpful. If you like videos like this, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing to this channel. Welcome to the fam. We're a really nice group of people over here on this little corner of the internet, and I would love it if you joined me. Below in my description box are going to be affiliate links. That means I make a very small commission on each purchase. If you want to help me support this channel and allow me to make more videos like this one, then I would so appreciate if you used my affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but if you're not comfortable with it, no worries. That is why I announce it, because I try to be as transparent as possible. I highly, highly recommend that you check out Kait's channel. All of her information will be in the description box below. She is such a delight, and I can't wait to see what she came up with and what her favorite concealers are. And it'll be fun to see if we have any similarities. And you guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next one. And as always, I wish you health and wealth. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!